Okay, good. Okay, fantastic, DJ. Let's move forward. So we were checking US 500, right? And we know that we previously rejected this support zone and we traded higher. Let me check. Great. So we are currently above this 3.9 K, which is acting as a support zone, especially that we've got this previous high. So we might even retest it like this before we trade higher, but this area is a massive resistance zone, especially if we zoom into H4 time frame. We can see that this zone here is lining up with many rejection zones. First, we've got this upper brown trend line in brown from daily time frame of this big falling broadening wedge, which price has been respecting for a long period of time. That's first. Second, we've got the upper red trend line here acting as an overbought zone or a non-horizontal resistance, and the supply zone as we had an aggressive movement down from here, and this resistance zone support, resistance, and so on. So indeed, the 4.1K is a massive zone. The price will most probably respect it. Now, for how long or for how deep, we can't really know. We might reject it like for a little while and then break it up and trade higher, or we might form this big impulse movement to push price lower. But anyway, for now, let's take it step by step. We are bullish. We made an impulse, a correction, and we are currently in this impulse. We might see a correction movement, as mentioned before, we trade higher, or this impulse would keep on trading higher. How do we know? If and only if we break below this low. If we break below it, we will start the correction movement. It can last for a couple of days, couple of weeks before we trade higher again. Meanwhile, and until this happens, we can still trade higher from here to test this resistance zone, which I already explained or showed you from daily time frame. That's basically it. I can't really say much. That's it for US 500. If we move forward, we've got the XY. On the XY, finally, we can see some movements, right? So we rejected this upper bound, multiple rejections from here, and this is the arrow. We were looking for sell setups. Like I posted anyway, this one as well. If you search for the XY, you can find it right here. Okay, that we are currently around this resistance, and we are looking for sell setups around this area. Anyway, we're looking for buy stops here that didn't form, price kept moving lower and broke this support zone, which you can clearly see now. Okay, we traded lower, we broke below this support zone, so now it's acting as a resistance, lining up with this trend line, right? So now if we trade higher, this is a resistance zone. Especially even if you don't have a trend line or we don't have a resistance, if you remove everything, this is what the previous major low, right? Lining up with this high. So this entire zone like this is a very strong resistance zone. If we trade higher, we'll be expecting this movement downward. But finally, the good news is that we finally were able to break below a major low, because previously, let me get back my levels. So previously we had this correction, a very small one, a correction, one swing, while here we had multiple swings and then broke it downward. So this is no longer a correction. This is an impulse movement, especially after breaking below this low. So now we have a shift in momentum from bullish to bearish. So now every bullish movement would be a correction and every bearish movement would be an impulse, right? That's it for DXY. And from weekly time frame, we can see that this is indeed a very strong demand zone. Let me remove these ones to keep it clean. That's it. Okay, and this is a demand zone as we had an aggressive movement upward from here. If you zoom into daily, you can see it that it's lining up with this previous high, previously resistance, now broken upward, now acting as support. So are currently here retesting this area. For the bears to remain in control and to keep pushing lower, we need to see what's a break below the support zone below 105, which as you can clearly see is a very strong support zone for now. If you break it downward, we'll be expecting further bearish movement from here, but for now I'm expecting a correction. But how do we know that the correction is about to start? We zoom into lower time frames as usual. We zoom in and we are currently trading where inside this like falling channel. We'll see it better when we zoom into H1 time frame. So let me give you a quick trick, which you can also find multiple times on Bitcoin charts, but let me give it to you here. So the trick is when we have a big bearish movement, okay, give me a second. Okay, when we have a big bearish movement and we have a rising correction, it would be what? A continuation setup. For example, a big impulse movement, bearish movement, and a consolidation rising one, it would be a continuation one. Okay, vice versa. When we have a big bearish movement and we have a falling correction, it would mean a reversal. That's it. Impulse movement, falling correction, it would mean a reversal. Okay. Of course, like we want to wait for this one to be broken, like to confirm it. In this case, we want to wait for this one to be broken to confirm it. Because we can't know that this one would end unless it's broken, right? The price can still trade lower and lower and lower. Okay. Let me show you multiple examples on Bitcoin chart. If you go to Bitcoin and go to weekly chart, okay, you know what? I'll open a new chart so that you can see it very clearly. So Coinbase, I don't have drawings. Yeah, I had previously. Let's delete it. Okay. Dear Morrison, hope you're doing good. Happy to see you here. And okay, great. Let's move forward. So let me give you this example on Bitcoin chart, monthly time frame. You can see how powerful this setup is and how it can help you know what to expect next. So we were bullish previously, and then we had what? A falling correction, which mean what? A continuation. Okay, so let me draw it here as a cheat sheet. So we are trading higher, a falling, and then impulse. We are trading higher, a rising, it would be a reversal, and vice versa. We are going lower, falling, reversal, going lower, rising, continuation. Okay, so this one is what? Is this one. And let me delete it here to keep these ones here. So impulse, falling, rising, and then impulse, rising correction, which is this one. And now we had a reversal. Next, we had the reversal. We had what? A falling movement. Impulse, falling movement would be what? A reversal, right? And then we had a bullish movement, a falling correction, which is where? This one, exactly. And then we had the impulse. And then what? We had the impulse, a rising correction, which is this one. And then we had what? A reversal. Okay. And you can check it out all over the place. Anyway, let's keep moving forward as the example. So if you go lower, rising correction, which is which one? To this one. And then an impulse. Now, okay, which is very interesting. Impulse, falling correction, right? Which would be what? This one here, a reversal. Okay, but again and again, we can't really know for how long it will last. As I showed you previously, for example, here it lasted for like a couple of months because of course this is weekly time frame. So here we got the once, the second month, and then 2 months and a half. Okay, here already we got 1 month, 2 months, and we are now in the third month. Okay, so but for this to be confirmed, just like this one, just like where else? No, this is the only example. We need to see a break above this previous high, which is for now the 20K. Okay, so very very important stuff here. Like always keep an eye on it. Now let's move forward anyway. Like we were going over the analysis here, and then we went into educational section. So let's move. Let's get back to our analysis. For the XY, that's it. So yeah, like we were talking about this one, that we were bearish and then we had a falling correction. Previously bearish, rising correction, continuation, right? Anyway, so for now, how do we know the correction would start here? We need to see a break above this high. Once we see it, we'll be expecting a bullish movement, and then from this area, we'll be expecting a movement lower. Okay, because now we are bearish from a long-term perspective, and every bullish movement would be a correction, and then we'll be looking for the next impulse movement. But the good thing is, as mentioned previously, from a long-term perspective now, the bears took over on the XY. Let's move forward and get into our crypto, right? If you have any questions during the session, feel free to write it down. If you are on Discord, let me know. If you are on Discord, let me know in the members talk. If you are on YouTube, feel free to comment it in the comment section. Now, let's move forward to our USDT dominance. Now, unfortunately, as you already know, last week we had the crash of FTX. We had this big bullish movement upward, breaking above this resistance zone, right? So this is weekly time frame, and we are currently here. Last week we had this bullish candle. Now we rejected this previous all-time high, which is around 9.5, right? We rejected this area and we traded lower again, but we are still around this resistance, now turned what? Turned support. So now we are expecting a movement higher from here unless the bears claim back this zone. In this case, if we have an aggressive break below it, then we'll be expecting this movement. Okay, this would be a whole fake out or at the end of this bullish trend, and then will be now bearish. But for now, we are still bullish. We broke above this resistance, now support. We're expecting a bullish movement from here. What we can expect is, as long as we are above this area, and like this is how like we feel the market before a reversal happens. How do we know? If we trade higher from here and fail to make a higher high, instead make a lower high, in this case, this would be a first indication that yes, this might be like the bulls are cooling down, and if we see this next, then we'll be expecting this movement. But if we see price going up and making a higher high, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be a good sign. In this case, even if we trade lower, it would be a correction, and then we'll be trading higher and higher later on. Anyway, for now, let's take it step by step, as I always say. For now, we are here stuck around this support. We broke it upward, we rejected it once, and now we are rejecting it again, forming like a range. And also this low here previously is tested by this high. We can see it even better from H1 time frame. Now we are trading inside this channel or like rising broadening wedge, if you want to call it. And yeah, we're rejecting the lower bounds. If we break it downward, it wouldn't be enough. But if we break it down, it would be an indication that yes, the bears are trying to kick in. But for the bears to take full control, as mentioned from daily, I would like to see a break also below the 7.8, which was, if you want, around 7.85. This upper bound of this entire zone. I want to see a break below it, because now if you break simply below the 8, which is this one here, it might be a fake out, and we might push back inside the zone. That's it. And as we trade higher, around the 8.5 is a massive zone around this area here, starting from this zone. Okay, this entire area. Okay, we'll be looking for setups here, which would result from daily with a lower high. Okay, because like this one is the intersection of multiple rejections. I'll show you from H4, the upper orange trend line, upper blue trend line, and the 8.85. You can see it better if you zoom into H4. That's it. And if you want, you can make it appear on daily so that you can see the upper trend line in orange even better. That's it. Okay, so now from a shorter term perspective, we know that the bulls already took over by breaking above these highs. We traded higher, and now we are trading lower, but it's not enough because we might still have this correction, and then the bulls can kick in and trade higher again. And then I'll show you a bigger example on Bitcoin. So on weekly time frame, as I showed you now in a separate chart, that we had an impulse, a falling correction, right? But of course, we are still bearish. I don't know why I have so many levels here. Let me remove one of them. That's it. Okay, now things are cleaner. So we broke below the 20K zone, which is the 18K, and now it's acting as a resistance zone, right? If you go to daily time frame, you can see it even better. We broke it downward, we retested it, and we are now trading lower. We've got two possible scenarios from here, and it all depends on the chart from H4. Okay, it's very crucial to like this decision making here, because we might have a pennant, a channel, or so on. It would be a falling one. So if we have what? if we have a rising correction, it would mean a continuation, right? Because previously, bullish, rising, reversal, right? Which is the example. And bearish, falling, reversal, okay? Now, if we have a falling correction, it would mean a reversal. If you have a rising correction, it wouldn't be good. It would mean a bearish movement downward. It would mean that this is a correction before the next impulse movement start. It might be, as mentioned previously, like this impulse as a channel, or if you want, as a flag before we trade lower again, or as a pennant. Okay, oops, and that's it. And then we trade lower again. And let's see how it goes. But for the bulls to reclaim the support, just like, or the opposite of USDT dominance, we need to see a break below the 7.8, right? On USDT dominance. Here, we want to see a break above the 18K, like this. And you can see it even better from H4 time frame. If we break above this 18K, and to be exact, above this 18.5K, this area here. Okay, if we break it higher, we would be breaking back inside the zone. The buyers would reclaim the support, especially that from daily. Now you can draw as an overall channel by connecting these two highs or even these two highs. Okay, but anyway, let's keep it clean for now and draw only one. Let's extend it and make an offset for it. That's it. That's it. Okay, we are trading inside this big channel, and if we break back above the zone, above the 18.5, we'll be expecting this, and then this, and then this movement, right? And yeah, that's it. So from H4 time frame, I wouldn't like a break below these lows. If we break below it, okay, then it will not stop around the 15. Okay, so like for those who are saying that, yeah, the 15 and the 13, 14, this area here is a very strong support area. It's not. Okay, I'll show you why in a bit from daily. But if we break below this one, okay, look at this. A big impulse movement, a consolidation, and then we will have this big impulse movement pushing lower till inside the zone. It would be an impulse correction and then an impulse movement again. Okay, it will not stop here around the 15K. I'll show you how from daily time frame. Okay, on daily, or if you want weekly, it's even better. On weekly time frame, this is the main zone. Let me read the 15 to show it to you better. That's it. Look at how strong this support zone is. Multiple rejections from this area. Moreover, this area is a demand zone because we had the start of the bull run from here, right? Here we go. We had the start from here. And inside this big chart, price paused 3 times. The first one is at the start, of course. The second one is here, right? So big impulse, like full bullish candles, and then consolidation by bearish candles, and then full bullish candles, and then a big consolidation bearish candles. And then, of course, the last one before the reversal. So now, if you check right, that's it. So price filled this one and traded higher, okay? And then we traded lower again, and look at this one. Filled this one, rejected it, but couldn't push higher, which means that there were no buying pressure. So now this is already filled also. Now the only one left is this zone here, which is 10 to 12K, which is not filled yet. It's 10 to 12, as you see here. So if you remove everything, that's it, and you focus on the chart, you draw a level from the upper bound and the level from the lower band. This is it. Okay, so from 9K800 to 12K400, like this. Okay, but of course, like to make it as a round number, go to 12K, and here we go for 10K. Okay, then this is the zone that we are looking at. It happens to be also a resistance zone, as you clearly see, multiple rejections from this area. Anyway, let's get back to our analysis. Oops, I removed my drawings. Let me hope we get them back. Yeah, fantastic. And drawings from daily are still there or not from H4? Okay, good. So that's it. Now, if we trade higher, we might reject the 18K and trade lower again. Okay, it's very, very important because for the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above this 18,500, which is like I doubt that it will happen. On lower time frames, on H1, we can see that we have been trading inside this range, a bigger one, and now we are inside this floor. So for the bulls to take over from a short-term perspective, we need to see this break above this area. That's why you see my alert right here. If this break happens, then we'll be expecting further bullish movement inside the 18K, but in this case, we'll be expecting this bearish movement again. Meanwhile, as I posted on TradingView, if you want to watch it, it's here. Okay, this is the zone. I had it in blue here, as you see. So I have it in orange for this layout. That if we break it down, we'll be expecting a short-term bearish movement. This is it. Yeah, we broke below these lows. So we're the exact opposite of USDT dominance. We broke above this high right here, and we traded higher, right? Anyway. That's it. This is our next minor support zone lining up with the lower trend line in orange. So of course, we'll be looking for a short-term buy here. Meanwhile, we are bearish unless the bulls kick in again in an aggressive manner, because now if we trade higher, it would be simply a correction before the next impulse move will push lower. For the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above the zone. In this case, we'll be expecting a movement till the 18K. That's it. Okay, Mark, hope you're doing good. Happy to see you here. That's it for Bitcoin. For Ethereum, a very similar approach, a very similar analysis chart. We broke below the 12,500. We broke below it, we retested it, and we are currently here. For the bulls to reclaim this support, we need to see a break above this entire zone, which would be around 1350. If we break it upward, we'll be expecting further bullish movement till this 1500. And this 1500 and the 20K is truly a massive zone, because this is where this crash happened. Okay, this is a supply zone and also an event. Okay, and people usually like tend to to remember levels of the event. Okay, which is clearly around also the 20K, like a round number lining up with this low, right? So like if you remember, as we mentioned previously here, like multiple times, we are bullish and we are trading higher unless we break below the 20K, which happened here. We'll be expecting a movement in the 18K, and this happened. And then here we're looking for buy setups. If you zoom into lower time frames, we were looking for a buy, but that didn't happen. We didn't have a buy setup. We had this high, but it's not broken upward, and instead we broke it downward and we traded lower. Okay, so like this is how you move step by step, and you wait for the market to make the first move, and then you react accordingly. We don't predict, we react. That's it. Anyway, for Bitcoin, we already done it. Like we spent like 10 minutes there. For Ethereum, a very similar approach. We've got this previous low here, and now if we break below this area, we expect further bearish movements. The next support in this case, if we break below the orange zone again, it would be the 1K, which is a strong support zone. Previously, we had a demand zone here, but it was filled. You can draw this upper bound of this candle. Here we go. Okay, so this demand was filled, but it's now still a support zone. If you zoom out, you can see that we got also rejections from it here. Yeah, that's it. If you break below this low here, which we saw from H4, we'll be trading lower. For now, here we go. Just like Bitcoin, we broke below these lows. We traded lower, and now for the bulls to take over from a short-term perspective, we need to see a movement like this and then a break above it and above this area here from a like medium-term perspective and so on. So as you can see, like a choppy chart, but I'm trying my best to explain what are the possible scenarios as you saw like from Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's it for Ethereum. If you have any questions, let me know in the members talk or in the comments, and I'll take a sip meanwhile. Okay, let's move forward to our second section, which is going over like interesting altcoins. So let's start, of course, with NWC. So on weekly time frame, we can clearly see that we are approaching a massive demand zone around 0.005, 0.05. That's it. If you go to daily time frame, we can see that we're looking for buy stops around this area, and then we broke below the support zone. So now we are approaching the lower support zone, which is here. And as you clearly notice, falling bearish movement and then a falling correction, which would mean a reversal, right? So this is what we are looking for now around the support zone, as you clearly see. So this price action here reminds me of this one right here. So we might get stuck for a couple of days around this area before the bulls take over. I'll show you how the bulls will take over from a lower time frame. But from a long-term perspective, as previously as mentioned multiple times, we need to see a break above this resistance zone between 0.16 to 0.2. Now, from lower time frames, that's it. Like I was personally waiting for a break above this resistance. Unfortunately, didn't happen due to the crash of FTX. We traded lower. And now, as you see, here we go, a falling one. We are currently forming also like a triangle or like an ascending triangle or a flat range. It depends on how the price would develop from here, but we can clearly draw this movement right there. Okay, you can draw this zone, you can also make an offset for it. That's it. So for the bulls to take over here, we need to see a break above this range. In this case, we'll be expecting a movement back till this resistance zone. Okay, that's what I'll be personally waiting for. That's it. If you move forward, okay, like let me see if Joseph is here. Joseph, okay, is not here, but he can watch it in the recording. Like which is like this is a fan token, Galatasaray, and those who like fan tokens, mesh news, like today posted like a chart like of like the most best performing like fan tokens, which I saw honestly forwarded in the NWC group. So so it's like a very good move from Mesh News at this specific time, because like after like 4 days the World Cup would start. And yeah, like of course we'll go over CLZ now and on Algo as explained last week, because they are related to the World Cup, and also the fan tokens are also related. And like we can see some pump in the market in these tokens, because like as Mesh News showed in the chart in the table, that even that like all the altcoins are going down, these fan tokens are going up during this period. So that's it for Galatasaray. We are still here, like we can't really see much volume for this one, but we are still around this all-time low around 1.5. For the bulls to take over, as mentioned multiple times, because like it's like week after week. So I've mentioned it 1 week, 2, 3, 4, and like this is the 5th week that we are still waiting for this break. Okay, so we don't really have much updates for this one, except I'm still waiting for a break above this 2.1 for the bulls to take over. Meanwhile, we are bearish and we can trade lower and lower, and price respected this round number 1.5, but we are still waiting for this break. Okay, seed, of course, like this is a stock, as you can see, like here Nasdaq, but like since the dear boss requested it, I kept it here. Let's update it very quick. We've got this inverse head and shoulders for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective. I still have my alert here, like for a couple of weeks now, as you clearly see. Still waiting for it to be broken upward. In this case, we'll be expecting a bullish movement. I wouldn't like a break below this, which hasn't happened yet, so good. From daily time frame, if we zoom in, we can see that, also from H4, that we are currently trading inside this falling one. So we had this channel, we broke it upward, we are currently testing it. So now for the bulls to take over again, we need to see a break above the 10. In this case, we'll be expecting a bullish movement till till the alert here, which is the neckline of the one from weekly. We'll be expecting a movement from 10 to like 13, 13.5, or till this area. unless or until, okay, or like the right word is unless we see a break below this area, okay, which as mentioned from daily, I wouldn't like a break below this. Okay, if it happens, then the bearish would take over and we'll be expecting a further bearish movement lower. That's it for seed. If you move forward, yeah, then this is CSZ, and Algo will go over it now. For CSZ, we're still waiting for the bulls to take over. This is actually a massive support and resistance, which you can clearly see. For the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above this area around 0.31. So this area here. If we see a weekly candle close above it, then we would break above the zone and we'll be expecting further bullish movement. If you go to daily time frame, we are currently stuck inside a flat range. So as we trade lower again, we'll be looking for buy stops around the lower bound. I can't really update much like from lower time frames, but it's very similar to this one here. So broke below the previous low, we started to make lower lows and lower highs, and then here we go, lower highs, and then we broke it upward and we started to make higher lows and higher highs, and then we broke below the low. We traded lower in an aggressive manner, like due to FTX, which was the 20K on Bitcoin. That was 0.25 here on CSZ, and we traded lower. We rejected the 0.15, and we are now trading higher. We can also draw like a channel now on CSZ here. That's it. Okay, this is why you see my two alerts here, this one and this one. This one is if we retest this trend line, I'll be looking for buy stops. We also have this support resistance, a minor one. If you break it down, we will be expecting a movement to this area, which we have my alert here. And my last alert is around 0.3. If we see this break, and I'll be also adding more. That's it for CSZ. For Algo, I'm also watching this one for the World Cup. Unfortunately, due to FTX, we had a big bearish movement lower. We even broke below these lows, which I don't like. And now for the bulls to reclaim this support zone, okay, which is now acting as a resistance, we need to see a break above it. So around this area, that's why you see my alert right here. And next, for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective, I have my alert right there. So I want to see a break above this. Okay, so when we have this break, as mentioned from H4, I'll be adding some, and then I'll be adding some more when we break above the zone. Meanwhile, we are bearish, right? We broke below the support, now it's a resistance, so we can still trade like lower from here. If we trade lower, I have my alert around the 0.22, which is the upper bound of the support, weekly support, as you clearly see. Okay, so like this explains like what I'm personally looking at for Algo. Let's move forward to Link. Okay, so like now, if you want me to go over a specific altcoin, please let me know in the members talk or on the comment section if you are watching on YouTube, and I would be happy to do it. Okay. Because like now I finished like the main ones that I wanted to go over, and starting from now I still have like some potential ones, but of course I'll be going over these ones, but as mentioned, if you want me to go over a specific one, please let me know and I would be glad to add it. So Link also around this very strong demand zone support area, which we can see even better from daily time frame. Look at how strong this support is, multiple rejections from it. This zone has been holding like quite nicely. If we drop low, just like these wicks, of course I'll be looking for buy stops here. And next, for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective, I want to see a break above the 10. In this case, we'll be expecting this movement upward. From H4 time frame, this is the last major high. Exact same thing as Algo. I would be waiting for this break. In this case, we'll be expecting a short-term bullish movement. And yeah, this is the next one, right? That's why you see this alert here. So first one, if we break above this one is if we dive inside, this one is if you break above this area, and last but not least, this one if we break above this upper band. Okay, so this is why you see 4 alerts, right? Because like I want to know every single movement of Link, like this is why I'm keeping an eye on it through these alerts. That's it for Link. Joseph, hope you're doing good. Uh, we just went over Galatasaray. So like if you want like to do a quick update because like you are here now, the update is we don't have an update. So we're still waiting for a break above the 2.1 for those to take over. Meanwhile, we are bearish, we are trading inside this channel. Okay, this is basically it. This is for Link. I already went over it. Let's move forward. We've got Atom. Atom is also around a strong support zone, which has been holding nicely. Previously rejected it, now rejected it again, like a couple of weeks ago, and now due to the FTX, we had a movement downward, and we are back around the 10. So we'll be looking, just like previously, we'll be looking for buy setups, right? Unless, of course, we break this zone down. In this case, it wouldn't be good at all for Atom. But for now, we are still around the support. We are looking for buy setups. Now, if you break above this area, the exact same high that we saw on Link and on Algo, we'll be expecting a short-term bullish movement. Next, we've got this one right here. If you break it upward, we'll be expecting also further bullish movement. That's it. And of course, we still have, from a long-term perspective, this support and resistance, which you can clearly see. And so from a long-term perspective, we need to see this break to expect this bullish movements on Atom. That's it. Let me check the chat. If you have any questions, let me know. Hey, Sustaining Buyer, glad to see you here. Yushanna, Mantis, of course, Danny, Mac, and everyone, Bukarik, DJ. If you have any questions, let me know. Meanwhile, I'll move forward, and after every analysis, I'll be checking the comments. So, Link, sorry, sorry, XLM. So because like I'm like planning to buy both. That's why like I got confused. You can also see like 4 alerts here for XLM. So we are already around this demand zone. As you can see, it's a very strong one. Also, this area here is a strong resistance. Let me zoom in a little bit in. That's it. So this level here, 0.07, is a massive support. Look at this, multiple rejections from this area, okay? And also aggressive movement upward, which makes it a demand zone, lining up with the 1 round number, okay? So this is why we have the zone from 0.07 till 0.075 till 0.1. Now, if you go lower, it makes total sense that you don't really need to zoom in lower. You can just follow the price action here, making lower lows and lower highs. We didn't really break above the previous high yet. Okay, so like this is how clean or like how simple you can approach crypto. Check weekly and daily time frame. That's it. Wait the previous high around the support or the demand, and then buy on spike upward, which you haven't been like in a trade since I don't know when, right? Since like October 2021, we have been bearish since then. Anyway, for the bulls to take over here from a long-term perspective, this explains what? This explains this alert. Okay, want to see a break above this area, which is around 0.13. Meanwhile, since we are inside the demand zone, we'll be looking for buy stops, but I didn't like how we broke below this one. Okay, this one, 0.1. So for the bulls to reclaim the support again, just like Bitcoin, we need to see a break higher, breaking above the zone. Okay, you can see it even better if you zoom into daily time frame. We had a double bottom. I was waiting for this break first, short-term perspective, and then like for this one for the long term. And as you can see, it didn't happen, not even from the short term. Okay, so no entry yet. We kept on moving lower. We broke below the 1 and so on. So very straightforward approach for the bulls to take over. What do we want? We want a break above the 1 again. Now it's a resistance, and I would like to see a break above it. That's why you see my first alert. Second alert, of course, this one, if you break above this major high. The lower one is if we go lower till around inside like the demand zone, which is a demand zone from weekly, it would be also a good rate to look for buy stops on lower time frames. So this explains my trading plan for XLM. Okay, that's it. If you go to ADA, a very similar movement. We broke below the support zone. It was a support here, broke it lower, retested it, and we traded lower. If you zoom out, it's also a demand zone. If you zoom in, you can clearly see it. It's a rally, a demand zone, a consolidation, and then a rally. Okay, that's why this is a demand area of 0.3 to 0.4. Okay, that's it, and we are currently approaching the lower bound of it. If we break it down, it wouldn't be good. We'll be expecting further bearish movement. Now, if you go to daily time frame, you can see that we've got a nice channel formed, right? We've got this one, and if you make it like this, it would be deep down this area. But let's keep it this way for now. For the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above the last major high, which explains my first alert. Okay, if we break above this, then the bulls will take over long term. Meanwhile, if we go lower to test this area, then we'll be looking for buy stops around the lower bounds. And from a short-term perspective, my alert is here if we break above this high. Okay, the bulls will take over short-term, okay, because we still have a resistance right here, also a supply zone. So the 0.38 to 0.4 is a massive zone, but like it would be a short-term buy. Meanwhile, if you trade lower, we'll be looking for this buy here. If you trade higher and keep on trading higher, and I'll be adding even more like bags of ADA if we break above the upper one. Meanwhile, I'll be going forward on IOTA. We are currently around this level. Oops, too many alerts here, right? I don't know why. Okay. Okay, I have one like around this like the all-time high, all-time low, which is 0.12. Okay, but yeah, I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alerts for one altcoin. Wow. Okay. Already around the 0.23. Okay. We also broke below this previous low downwards. We're expecting further bearish movement until the buyers take over. If you go to daily time frame, a very similar chart, just like ADA. For the bulls to take over, we need to see this break above 0.28. If we see it, then the bulls will take over from a long-term perspective and we'll be expecting a bullish movement upward. Meanwhile, if we trade lower, we'll be looking for buy stops from a shorter perspective. But keep in mind that it would be a reversal trade. The best case scenario is if we have a break above this and then a break above this entire range, which you can see here. Okay, which explains the upper alert. Let me see. I guess I have it a little bit higher. Let me check. Oh no, it's good. Okay, that's it. For IOTA. Dots. Polkadot's a very, very similar channel, just like IOTA and ADA. Okay, demand zone right here, an aggressive movement upward. We are bearish and we even broke below this low. That's it. Okay, from daily time frame, that's now our last major high. So which would be around 7.5. If we break it higher, we'll be expecting a bullish movement, and then I want to see this break. So I'll be adding some here, and I'll be adding even more at the break of the 10. Meanwhile, this is a round number and demand zone. So as we trade lower here, I'll be looking for a short-term buy. Okay. Jabs, Dusty Jabs, hope you're doing good. Okay, let's keep on going forward. Okay, we're also on Altcoin approaching a massive demand zone. Let me show you that's it. Okay, the 0.001 and 0.0005, which is the low one. Okay, this entire zone. If you go to daily time frame, we had a channel last week from H4, I guess. yeah, we had a channel from H4, we broke it upward, traded higher, and due to like the crash of FTX, we had this movement back lower. Now for the bulls to take over again, I want to see a break above this high. Meanwhile, if we trade lower, I'll be looking for buy stops here around the lower bound, which is also a demand zone now, and you can also draw like a channel or a trend line like this. Okay, Lena. Okay, fantastic jabs. On Lena around the 0.01, which is a round number, and so on. For the bulls to take over, like this is the drawing from last week. We wanted a break above this gray area, which didn't happen, obviously. So let's move it aside. And now I don't like how we broke below this, like the exact same thing as algo and so on, right? So for the bulls to take over here, we need to see a break back above this area, which would be around 0.007. Okay, if we break it upward, we'll be expecting a bullish movement. The exact same thing we expected from these two. Let me drag and drop it. That's it. Okay. Meanwhile, we are bearish, of course, and if we keep on trading lower and break below this low, we will be expecting further bearish movement. Okay, on Solana, unfortunately, we had a big bearish movement downwards, and we are currently here around the 15. We have been stuck around it for a couple of days now. The lower support is around 10, which is a strong like round number. But this one is acting as a resistance now, as you see, multiple rejections previously as support. So for the bulls to take over here from a long-term perspective, okay, this one is far away now. We need to see a break above this, okay? But first, we need to see a break back above the 20. And meanwhile, I have the 10 as the round number in case we drop lower. I'll be looking also for buy around the 10. From short-term time frame, if you want, let's go like this. Okay, we've got this zone right here. That's it. Okay, so the bulls will take over short term, and then we might reverse and trade lower. Okay, so can keep in mind, because the Bitcoin 18K is a very strong resistance, so the market can, like the entire market, can go higher and then reverse or find rejection around the 18K resistance, right? Okay. Okay, glad to see you guys here, many members today. So if you break it higher, short-term bulls take over, and then if you break over the 20K, we'll take over from a medium-term perspective. But the situation overall for Solana isn't that good currently. Okay, so like for now, I'll go over the last one for my charts. But if you want me to go over a specific one, please let me know. I will do it after Ape. Cheers. Okay, on Ape, we have been overall bearish, of course, just like the market. Impulse correction, impulse correction, and we are currently here. Now we are approaching the previous low, which is around like 2.5 to 3. And we can draw a channel, which we can see even better from H4 time frame. That's it. Now around this lower bound, we'll be looking for a buy to catch this correction. The correction would last till this area, which is a very strong resistance zone now. Okay, look at how many rejections we had from it previously, broken downward. Now if the bulls take over, he will be expecting this movement till this area and then a new swing high. And then for the bulls to take over from a longer term perspective, we need to see a break above it like this. In this case, we'll be expecting a long-term reversal. But for now, let's take it step by step. If we zoom in, we can see that the price is stuck inside a consolidation, and we can draw this short-term one. As you can see, my alert is like a little bit higher to cover to cover this wick. Okay, this is what I'm personally waiting for, a break above this to catch this movement till this area. So like from 3.2 till around like 4.2. Meanwhile, of course, we can still trade lower because have been bearish and we are still bearish, right? We can still trade lower and lower to dive inside like the 2.5 zone, for example, till here before trading higher. In this case, if we drop lower, we'll be looking for buy stops down there. Okay, that's it. I'm checking the comments and the members talk. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want to go over a specific altcoin, I would be happy to do it. DJ, you're more than welcome. I'm happy that you are happy, and I'm happy that you didn't miss a session like for a long period of time. Mac, we love you too. You are truly amazing. I'm happy to see you guys here all. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll wait for a couple of minutes and checking the members talk. Bukarik, you're more than welcome. Happy to see you here too today. Okay, Mantis, nice TA presentation. Thanks, Rich. You're more than welcome, Mantis. I'm happy to see you. I can see like from like next to your name that you are new here. I'm happy to see new members. If you have any questions and like at any time, feel free to ask it in a general discussion group or here in the members talk. Okay, dear Yushanna, I'm happy to see you here as well. Okay, I believe that's it. Let's wait for the remaining members. If you have any questions or you want to go over a specific altcoin, please let me know. Meanwhile, of course, Mark, as usual, he is very generous to initiate, like to draw for us. So again, that's basically it. Like to end this session, I would like to to remind you to stay safe and to trade safe. Okay, so we are currently in a bearish market. If like one more exchange or big player like crash or collapse, would be seeing one more bearish movement. We are currently just in a small bullish correction movement. Things overall isn't looking good. We are bearish, and last week we had, as you can see from all the charts, we had an impulse movement pushing lower. Okay, when you are going lower, we don't call it a dip. Okay, you don't buy a dip in a bearish market. Okay, very important. Keep that in mind. We are bearish. You would be, yeah, like if you want like an example, like you would be catching a falling knife. Okay, when you are bullish, making a higher high and a higher low, every bearish movement would be a correction, and this would be called, yeah, we are buying the dip. Because we don't buy the impulse. We don't buy when the price is going up in an aggressive manner. Okay, wait for a correction and then buy. But this would be only for a bullish market. For a bearish market, every bullish movement, you will be buying the bullish movement at the correction, and then the impulse would drag you down, making a lower low from higher time frame, from daily. Okay, so for example, just like I showed you from many examples today on daily time frame, it's very clean that we've got a new major high formed. Okay, so this wasn't a major high, now it's a major high. So look at this. If you delete everything, you can clearly see it: impulse, correction. So you don't want to buy a correction and then get stuck inside this big impulse, right? So impulse correction, and this is our last major high. Now we're expecting a small correction, maybe another high. So would have, this would be our last major high, and then if we break it upward, will be bullish. The exact same thing that we saw on let me show you on dot. Okay, that's our last major high. And now like the good thing of this big impulse movement is that we created a new high, because previously it was the 10. That's why I had my alert here. Now, since we had a new major high, I have my alert around the 5. So I have the opportunity to buy dot at a cheaper price. Again, not because I just buy both blindly because it's like around the lower bounds, because I'm still waiting for a breakup of this high, but now luckily that this high is a lower than this, like the old one. Okay, but meanwhile we can still trade lower. Okay, we can still trade lower and lower and lower. Don't buy just because the price is good, because it's cheap, because I have a demand or support. It can still be broken downwards. The exact same thing for we so many examples, like yeah, on IOTA, the exact same thing. Okay, that's the last major high. Now this is a resistance zone, and we can see this price action all over the place. Not only the 0.23, this entire zone. Here we go. Okay, this is a massive support zone. Look at this. Look at this support now broken. Okay, you don't want to be buying here. So now, if the price goes up, okay, don't get too excited. Okay, we are not going to the moon from here. Okay, for us to be able to trade higher and make higher lows and higher highs, first we need to see a breakup of this. So wait, don't enter at 0.22, wait for the 0.27. Okay, so like this small movement, just wait for it to be broken, and then we can expect a big bullish movement. For now, don't don't buy at a cheaper rate for a small movement only because you want to catch a big move, because we can still trade lower from here if Bitcoin rejects the 18K. Like for example, IOTA would reject the 0.25 and would trade lower from here to make one more impulse movement downwards. Okay, that's basically it for today. Wishing you a lovely night, everyone, and I'll hopefully see you next week, same day, same time. Okay, be safe, trade safe, and wait for extra confirmation. Cheers, everyone. Mac, cheers, dear. And I'll see you soon, hopefully. Mark, Danny, wishing you a lovely night too. Fantastic, Bukarik. Same to you, dear. You're more than welcome, Danny. Okay, everyone. I'll see you hopefully soon. Jabs, I'm glad you are enjoying it. I'll see you hopefully next week. DJ, I like the meme that you shared. It's very funny. Okay, so that's it. Of course, I'm interested in the quiz for next event. I see you there, hopefully too, if I have the time. And yeah, see you soon. Goodbye, everyone.